My sister gave me an ultimatum before her wedding, so I took a vacation instead. So which is it going to be? She says, and the word hangs between us like a bad smell. We're standing in the middle of a bridal boutique that smells like steamed fabric and perfume samples. White dresses hanging around us like ghosts. My sister is in her wedding gown, half-zipped, veil pinned roughly in her hair because the stylist had to step away for a moment, whatever that means. Her cheeks are flushed, and she's holding her phone in one hand and a glass of warm champagne in the other. You either come alone, she repeats, jaw tight, or you don't come at all. My hand goes numb around the plastic hanger I'm pretending to look at. The bridesmaid dress on it is this pale mauve that makes my olive skin look vaguely seasick in the mirror. You're giving me an ultimatum? I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. My heart is pounding so hard I swear I can feel it in my ears. About my own relationship? It was a Thursday afternoon that I really should have spent working. I'd rearranged my schedule to be there because my sister, Olivia, had texted, "Need you for final fitting. Pals don't bail XXX. And I'm still the idiot who rearranges my life when my family says, need. I teach high school, so I'd swapped lessons with another teacher, sprinted from campus to my car, and fought through traffic to get to this boutique in the nicer part of town. Olivia was already there when I arrived, flanked by two of her bridesmaids, our mom, and the bridal consultant. They all looked like they were in an Instagram ad. Champagne flutes, soft pink robes with bride tribe embroidered on the back. Someone's curated Spotify playlist humming in the background. I came in slightly out of breath, tote bag sliding off my shoulder, still wearing my work lanyard with my ID dangling, and immediately felt like I'd crashed the set of a very specific movie. There she is, my mom sang out, like I was the last puzzle piece. Rach, look at this dress. Doesn't your sister look like a princess? She did look beautiful. I'll give her that. The dress was all clean lines and subtle beading, not the cupcake monstrosities she used to doodle in her notebooks. My chest tightened in this complicated way. Pride, nostalgia, irritation all tangled together. Wow, I said honestly. You look really good, Liv. She smiled. That quick flash of little sister underneath the makeup, and for a moment it felt almost normal. We fussed over her hem. We argued about whether she should wear her hair up or down. The consultant brought out veils and earrings like a magician pulling rabbits from a hat. At some point, the bridesmaids disappeared to go take selfies in the bathroom, and Mom went off to ask about the alterations timeline, leaving just me and Liv in front of the big mirror. That's when she said, "So, about the wedding." In that tone that makes your stomach drop even before you know why. We've always been different, Olivia and I. She's 2 years younger, and somehow we ended up living in parallel but completely separate worlds. She was the popular one, the one in dance classes and student leadership, the girl who knew how to talk to grown-ups and get extensions on assignments with just enough fake helplessness. I was the kid with her nose in a book who joined the school newspaper and the debate club and didn't figure out eyeliner until I was 23. We weren't enemies exactly. We just missed each other on the way through. When she was learning to drive, I was leaving for uni. When I was coming out, she was sneaking out to clubs with someone else's ID. When she was moving in with her fiancé, I was moving home after a breakup, trying not to feel like I'd failed at adulthood. The fiancé, for context, is Tom. Tom is fine. He's not evil, not a monster, not one of those guys where you're like, oh my God, run. He's a little bland, a little too into craft beer, laughs a bit too loudly at his own jokes. But he clearly adores my sister. I'd made my peace with him being around for the long haul. What I hadn't made peace with was my family's, let's say, lukewarm attitude toward the fact that I'm a woman who dates women. When I came out at 19, my parents didn't outright disown me. They just kind of ignored it. My dad did the as long as you're happy thing while not looking me in the eye. My mom switched my pronouns back to neutral whenever she told stories about my life to her friends. It's just a phase, she said once when she thought I was out of earshot. She's always been so intense. She'll meet a nice man eventually. Spoiler, I did not meet a nice man eventually. I met Harper. Harper is the kind of person my mother would have absolutely adored if she'd been a guy. She's funny. She's kind. She remembers birthdays and brings flowers and is the first one to volunteer when someone needs to move apartments. She's also covered in tattoos and works as a photographer, which my parents find interesting in the way people use that word when they're trying not to say impractical. When Olivia got engaged, I was genuinely happy for her. I cried when she called. I helped her set up a Pinterest board, because of course she had one. I listened to endless monologues about venues and floral arrangements. I didn't expect to be asked to be a bridesmaid. I'm realistic, and she's always been closer to her best friend from high school. But she did ask, and I said yes. And it felt like maybe we were turning a page. The friction started small. About the +1, she texted one night. Tom's parents have a huge family, so we're limited on numbers. Can you send me an email with Harper's full name? Sure, I replied, excited to have her there. Of course, she sent back, followed by 3 heart emojis and a champagne bottle. Then, at a family dinner a few weeks later, Mom asked, too casually, "Is Harper going to be dressing formally?" I blinked. "It's a wedding. I assume so?" "I just mean," she continued, already wincing like she was the one being attacked. "Some of her outfits are very creative. You know how older relatives can be. We don't want anyone making comments." "She owns dresses, if that's what you're asking," I said dryly. "It's not about dresses," Mom said quickly. "We just don't want things to be distracting. This is Olivia's day." That phrase, "This is Olivia's day," became the soundtrack of the next 6 months. Every time anyone questioned anything, the response was the same. Seating charts, speeches, menu choices. This is Olivia's day. So back to the boutique, to the mirror, to my sister in white. "So about the wedding," she says, chewing her lip a little. A sure sign she's about to say something she knows I won't like. "Tom and I were doing the final seating plan last night, and some stuff came up." My shoulders tense. "Okay? It's just..." She glances at the door to make sure our mother isn't about to swoop in. Some of Tom's family are quite traditional, his grandparents especially, and a few of his cousins. They're very religious. We've already had some comments about the guest list. I feel it before she says it. That prickling under the skin like standing under a storm cloud. Comments about, "What?" "About you bringing Harper," she says in a rush. "About us having a gay couple in the front row. Apparently his grandmother had a fit over the idea of 2 women. You know, holding hands in photos." I stare at her. And, she says, taking a breath, "Tom's parents are worried it will cause drama. They're already paying for so much, and his mom has been stressed out of her mind. I'm trying to pick my battles here, Rach. I make some horrible noise that might be a laugh, and I'm the battle you're choosing to lose." "It's not like that," she says quickly. "I love you. You know I love you. But I also have to think about the bigger picture. This is a once-in-a-lifetime day. I don't want a scene. I don't want someone to refuse to sit down in the ceremony because they're upset about us endorsing something." She says the last part in a mocking older person voice, but it doesn't land. "That's their problem," I say. My throat is so tight it hurts. Not mine. Not yours. If they can't handle 2 women existing quietly at a wedding, that's their emotional deficiency, not some natural law of the universe. "I agree," she says, a little too fast, like she's scared I'll check. I do, but I also can't control them. And if they decide to have a meltdown, it won't be them people talk about. It'll be us. It'll be Olivia ruined her own wedding by inviting trouble. Trouble, I repeat. The word tastes like rust. She flushes. "You know what I mean?" "No," I say. "I really don't." "Spell it out for me, Liv." She stares at her reflection instead of at me. "I'm asking if you'd be willing to maybe come solo, just for the ceremony and reception. We can all go out together another time, celebrate properly as a family. For this day, I need things to be simple. Simple, I say, even though what I want to say is cowardly. You want me to go back into the closet for you?" "Just for one day," she says, like that somehow makes it better. "Don't make this bigger than it is. Harper is lovely. I like her. I do. But it's just one day, and this means everything to me." I laugh once, sharp. Must be nice to have one day mean everything to you, while some people are still trying to get through every other day without being edited out. "Rach?" "No, seriously," I say. "Do you hear yourself? You're asking me to choose between supporting you and respecting my own relationship. That's an ultimatum, Liv. You're dressing it up in pretty words, but that's what it is." Her eyes flash with that familiar little sister defensiveness. You're being dramatic. There it is. The word my family loves to use whenever I have feelings. I'm being honest, I say. You're asking me to pretend my girlfriend doesn't exist, so your future in-laws don't have to feel uncomfortable for 5 minutes. You're asking me to sit there and smile while people make speeches about love and partnership and family that apparently don't apply to me. That's not a small thing. Her jaw tightens. So I guess that's a no then, she says. I take a breath. My hands are shaking. I set the hanger down carefully like I'm afraid I'll snap it. I'm not going to come alone, I say. I'm also not going to show up with Harper as some act of rebellion and make your day about a fight. So if those are really the only 2 options you're giving me, the ultimatum you just gave me, then no, I won't come at all. Her eyes go wide. You'd really skip your own sister's wedding over this? You'd really ask me to choose between you and my partner? I throw back. It seems we're both capable of surprising each other. The bridesmaids come back then, loud and oblivious, and the moment shatters. The consultant swoops in with a tape measure. My mother reappears with a discount voucher. Olivia plasters a smile over her face that doesn't reach her eyes, and I stand there going through the motions, my head buzzing like a beehive. On the drive home, I call Harper. How bad? She asks, skipping hello. Scale of 1 to 10? I say. About a solid 8.5. Hit me. I tell her everything. The religious grandparents, the 2 distracting comments, the ultimatum. There's a pause when I'm done, the crackle of the line filling the space. You know I'd be fine with you going alone, right? Harper says eventually, voice gentle. I don't need a chicken dinner and a bad DJ to validate us. If it keeps the peace and it's something you want to do for her, I won't be offended. Yeah, I know, I say. That's why it almost made me sicker when she asked, because I knew you'd say that. And I also knew that if I said yes, I'd be teaching them that this is an okay way to treat me. Like my relationship is optional decor you can remove for certain events. She says softly. There's the real thing. I don't want to blow up the family over one wedding, I say, knuckles white on the steering wheel. But I also don't want to keep swallowing this stuff until there's nothing left of me that isn't palatable to them. So what do you want to do? She asks. The answer drops into my brain like it's been waiting there the whole time. Not returning a dress, not staging a protest, not giving some big dramatic speech at the reception. Something quieter, but more radical for me. I think, I say slowly, I want to not be here when it happens. Here like, at the wedding? Here like, in the country. I can hear her blink through the phone. Say more. I pull into my apartment complex and kill the engine, just sitting there in the cooling car. The late afternoon sun is slanting through the windshield, dust motes floating lazily in the light. I have the break after term, I say. 2 weeks. I haven't taken a real vacation in, 3 years? We always talk about going somewhere that isn't just your friend's cabin or my parents' house. What if we actually went? Somewhere far enough that I literally cannot be dragged into this circus, somewhere with bad reception and good food. She's quiet for a moment. Then I hear the smile in her voice. Are you saying, she says, that instead of watching drunk cousins do the Macarena, you'd like to sip a ridiculous cocktail in, say, Greece? Or maybe sit on a beach in Thailand? Or get lost in some museum in Lisbon? Yes, I say, surprising myself with how much I mean it. All of the above, any of the above, just not here. Okay, she says, then let's do it. There's something so wildly affirming about how quickly she agrees that I almost start crying right there in the car. Telling my family is another thing entirely. I don't do it that day. I let it settle. I talk to my therapist. Yes, I'm that girl now. Highly recommend. Who points out that making a choice for myself is not the same as abandoning my sister, no matter what story my family decides to tell about it. A week later, I go over to my parents' house for Sunday lunch because apparently I enjoy emotional self-harm. The table is set with the usual roast chicken, potatoes, salad my father never touches. Olivia and Tom are already there when I arrive, leaning over a seating chart on Mom's iPad. Rach, you're just in time. Mom beams. We're trying to figure out which table to put you at. We thought about putting you with Tom's cousins, they're your age, but maybe you'd be more comfortable with your aunties. Actually, I say, shrugging off my jacket, about that. Everyone looks up. Forks pause. My father frowns like I've already inconvenienced him by existing. I've been thinking a lot about the conversation we had, I say to Olivia, and about the ultimatum. Her cheeks flush. I didn't. You did, I say calmly. I don't think you meant it to be cruel, but it was. And I've decided I'm not going to accept either option you gave me. My mother's lips thin. Rachel, this is not the time to make drama. I'm not making drama, I reply. I'm letting you know that I won't be coming to the wedding. At all. I've booked a trip for that week. Harper and I are going away. The silence is immediate and heavy. You're joking, Olivia says. I'm not. So you're really going to skip my wedding? Her voice cracks on the last word. Over this? I'm skipping a wedding where my existence is treated like a problem to be managed, I say. Where my partner is framed as too much for certain guests. Where I'm told that I'm welcome as long as I amputate a part of my life to make other people comfortable. I love you. I do. But I'm not going to twist myself into something smaller to fit into your pictures. Mom slams her fork down. We have bent over backwards to include you, she snaps. We asked you to make one tiny sacrifice for one day, for your sister, and you're running away. Funny, I say quietly. From where I'm standing, it looks like the running away started on your end. You're the ones running away from uncomfortable conversations with your future in-laws. From standing up to people when they're bigoted. From telling the truth about who is in your family. My father finally speaks. That's enough, he says in that deep voice that used to make me straighten up as a kid. Don't throw words like bigoted around. It's disrespectful. What's disrespectful, I say, is inviting me into a space and then telling me which parts of myself need to be checked at the door. Olivia's eyes are filling with tears now. You know I don't care that you're gay, she says. You know that, right? We've talked about this. I just don't want to fight with Tom's family. I know you don't care in the sense that you're not repulsed by me, I say. But you also don't care enough to say, this is my sister and her partner, and they are invited. And if you have a problem with that, that's on you. That's what hurts. Tom, to his mild credit, finally pipes up. Liv, maybe we were a bit harsh, he says, shifting uncomfortably. It is your day, yeah, but it's also your family. We could just sit my grandparents further back or something. Olivia shoots him a look that could curdle milk. We had a plan, she says through gritted teeth. We agreed on this. Well, we can unagree, he says weakly. I shake my head. I appreciate the late-breaking conscience, I say, but I've already booked the flights. I'm not doing this dance where I go and then someone says something nasty to Harper when I'm in the bathroom, or we get frozen out of family photos, or my existence becomes the whispered side plot. I want you to have a beautiful day. Truly, I just won't be in the room. Mom looks like she's about to explode. Do you have any idea what people will say? She demands. Our own daughter's skipping the wedding. They'll think there's some huge rift. There is, I say simply. You just preferred it when I pretended otherwise. I don't stay for lunch. I leave, heart pounding, hands shaking. In the car, my phone buzzes with a text from Olivia. You're selfish. You're making this about you. Don't bother talking to me again before the wedding. I stare at it, then lock my phone and drive home, feeling simultaneously like I'm going to throw up and like I can finally breathe. The vacation, when it comes, is surreal. Harper and I land in Lisbon on a bright, clear morning. The air smells like coffee and salt. We drag our suitcases up a tiled street to a tiny apartment with a balcony overlooking red rooftops and a sliver of river. We spend days walking until our legs ache, eating pastel de nata still warm from the oven, sitting in little wine bars as the sun goes down. My phone stays mostly on airplane mode. On the day of the wedding, I wake up to a flurry of messages on Wi-Fi. Photos from relatives, a couple of passive-aggressive group texts from my mother about wishing you were here. One terse, hope you're enjoying your trip from Olivia. Harper and I spend the afternoon on a tram, then climb up to a castle and lean on a stone wall watching the city spread out beneath us. My phone vibrates once in my pocket. I don't look at it. Any second thoughts? Harper asks quietly. About being here instead of there? I look at her. She's squinting into the sunlight, hair pulled back, camera swinging around her neck. Not even a little. About them? She clarifies. I think about it. I feel sad, I admit. But I also feel less like I'm being slowly erased. And that's new. She nods. That counts for something. That night, in our little kitchen, we make pasta and open a cheap bottle of wine. We dance terribly to some playlist the apartment owner left queued up. At midnight, I check my phone. There's a photo of Olivia and Tom, beaming, their faces slightly sweaty from dancing. She's beautiful. They look happy. You can be glad for someone and still be hurt by them. My therapist says in my head. I save the photo. I don't write anything yet. It takes a few weeks after we get back for the fallout to settle. There are more texts. A long, heartfelt email from my dad about regret and family unity that never quite includes the words, I'm sorry. A shorter one from my mom about how people ask questions and you put us in a difficult position. From Olivia, nothing. Life goes on. I go back to work. I deal with teenagers making terrible puns and essays. Harper and I print a few photos from the trip and stick them on the fridge. Sometimes when I catch sight of the castle one, I think, that's where I was when my sister cut the cake. About 2 months later, I'm in the supermarket comparing brands of chickpeas when my phone buzzes. It's Olivia. Can we talk? My first instinct is to ignore it. My second is to text back something defensive. I take a breath and type, on the phone or in person? In person, she replies immediately. Coffee? We meet at a cafe halfway between our apartments. She looks different. More tired, maybe, but also softer around the edges. Married, I guess, looks a certain way. Hi, she says. Hi. There's a long pause where we both fiddle with our mugs. Finally, she exhales. Okay, she says. I'm just going to say this, and if I mess it up, tell me. I was an asshole. I blink. I didn't expect that. Okay, I say slowly. I let other people's comfort matter more to me than your dignity. She continues, eyes fixed on the table. I told myself I was just keeping the peace, but really I was being a coward. And I hurt you. A lot. I knew it, even while I was doing it, and I did it anyway. I'm sorry. The words land like pebbles in a pond, ripples spreading. I appreciate you saying that, I say. My voice wobbles a little. I wasn't perfect either. I dropped out of the whole thing instead of trying to find a middle ground. But I didn't have a lot of trust left that anyone would pick me when it got hard. And you sort of proved me right. She winces. Yeah, I know. She twists her napkin. When you didn't come, I was furious. Like, how dare you not put me first? She huffs out a humorless laugh. And then there was this moment at the reception where Tom's uncle made some comment about how good it was that we'd kept things traditional. And it hit me. I'd done exactly what people always do to you. I'd made you the complication instead of the person. I swallow. That must have been fun. It sucked, she says bluntly. I didn't enjoy having that mirror held up in my face. We talk. For a long time. About growing up in a family where anything different was quietly shuffled to the side. About how being the golden child made her terrified of rocking the boat. About how being the difficult one made me exhausted before I even opened my mouth. We don't fix everything over one latte, but we start. A week later, she texts, next time you and Harper are free, come over. Tom wants to show you the slow cooker. It's his new personality. I send back, we'll be there, but only if the slow cooker accepts lesbians. She replies with an eye roll emoji and a, we'll make sure it's been properly briefed. I don't regret missing her wedding. I regret that it was a choice I needed to make at all. But taking that vacation, physically removing myself from the space where I was expected to shrink, showed me something I'm not sure I would have learned otherwise. That I am allowed to choose myself. Even when it disappoints people. Even when those people share my last name. My sister gave me an ultimatum before her wedding. For once, I didn't pick the option that kept everyone else comfortable. I picked a tiny apartment in Portugal, a tram ride, a stone wall under my hands, and the quiet, radical decision to exist fully where I was wanted. And funnily enough, that choice is what made it possible, later, to sit across from her and start again as two adults. instead of one bride and one acceptable inconvenience.